I married Lin Yan despite his disabled legs. We had a son and a daughter until Lin Yan's white moonlight showed up at our door. Yan Gage, I can't forget you. Just like in my previous life, he got entangled with his white moonlight again. I kindly helped them get together, but later he cornered me with reddened eyes. Why can't my legs be cured anymore? They could clearly be cured in my previous life. I can only say he was reborn too late. The day Lin Yan's white moonlight appeared, he unusually had some drinks. Drunk, he sat under the corridor, watching the moon all night. I didn't disturb him and slept until dawn. Chanyue is back at the dining table. Lin Yan brought it up himself. She is now divorced from that man and has nowhere to go. I want to tidy up the courtyard next door and let her settle down first. What do you think, though he asked for my opinion? If I disagreed, he'd have a bunch of things to say to me. So I just nodded and agreed. Okay, but we don't have much money at home. Chenner's tuition for his schooling hasn't been paid yet. I know I won't ask you for money. Lin Yan impatiently cut me off. The next day, I noticed the famous painting in his study was gone. It was his most treasured one. And also the last one that could be sold for money were replaced with various furniture and household items being moved to the neighboring courtyard. Chanyue stood gracefully in the middle, looking impossibly cute. The outfit she was wearing should be the latest style of brocade robe from the clothing shop. Blimey, this Chanyue shows up with max level gear right from the start. New brocade robe paired with that cute look. Is she here to steal the male lead or what? But honestly, I've seen this White Lotus routine too many times, humble on the surface, but actually tsundere classic green tea tactics. The female lead's cold response was perfect. I am ready to watch the show. Noticing my gaze, Chanyue's eyes crossed over the low wall and landed on me. Sister Jawan, sorry for the disturbance. Her words were humble, but her face was full of arrogance. Good that you know I only replied with 4 words to her, then turned and went to the kitchen. In the evening, Lin Yan came back with Chanyue. She cowered behind him. Is sister still upset with me? Before I could speak, Lin Yan opened his mouth. She welcomes you. Just stay here. Don't feel burdened. Brother Yan is so good to me. Chanyue looked at him with her watery eyes. I couldn't be bothered with them, and called my son and daughter out to eat. Embarrassment flashed across Lin Yan's face, but he still shamelessly spoke. Add another set of bowls and chopsticks. You can't cook. Chanyue quickly chimed in. After I almost burned down the kitchen last time I cooked, Brother Yan wouldn't let me cook anymore. A girl's hands are so delicate and tender. They should be well protected. Lin Yan frowned and looked over, but in the end said nothing. Chenner said in a soft, childish voice, but father also said that a person should have the most basic survival skills, otherwise they're useless. Oh my god, this little Chenner is just too adorable. Children speak without restraint and hit right where it hurts. Chanyue's face has gone completely pale. A child's logic is just this direct. Not being able to cook really is useless. Lin Yan as a father is actually going to scold his own son. It really makes my heart ache for this sensible little treasure. I just want to give Chenner a big hug right now. Chanyue's face turned pale, and Lin Yan spoke up to scold. Chenner, don't be rude. I rubbed Chenner's head. Let's eat. No talking during meals or sleep. Pack your things yourself after dinner. I'll take you to the tutor tomorrow morning. Yes, mother, he replied in a crisp voice. There were clearly tears glistening in his eyes. Yet he stubbornly lowered his head, refusing to let me see. My heart, which had been calm, rippled with waves of sourness and ache. In my previous life, my Chenner had passed away before even reaching 6 years old. But fortunately, heaven gave me a second chance. Since I am not welcome, I'll just leave. Brother Yan, I am sorry. I won't cause you any more trouble. Chanyue ran outside with reddened eyes. You are, Lin Yan called out anxiously. She didn't look back. I looked at Lin Yan's legs lifeless, naturally unable to chase after her. Noticing my gaze, Lin Yan's expression turned cold instantly. Is this how you treat guests, Chenner? Where have all your manners gone? How can you speak to your elder like this? He first lashed out at me, then suddenly attacked Chenner. I couldn't help but speak up. Is your way of treating guests casually bringing other women home for dinner? Is it selling things and taking the money, ignoring your own children while spending it all on others? Is she even a guest? With each question I threw at him, his face grew darker inch by inch. What nonsense are you imagining? You and I have been close since childhood. It is not as filthy as you think. I let out a cold laugh. It better be. The meal left everyone unhappy. worried about leaving a shadow on the children. I especially went to accompany them that night. Minner was still young and couldn't understand our words, but Chenner had a stern face looking like a little bitter gourd. Mother, what is the relationship between Aunt Yue next door and Father? Why did Aunt Shun say that once Aunt Yue comes, Father won't want us anymore? If Father doesn't want us anymore, Chenner can still take care of little sister, right? He was deeply shaken, trying hard to hold back his tears. I pulled the child into my arms and gently patted his back. Good child, even without Father, you still have Mother. We can live well too. Chenner is still young after all, leaning in my arms and sobbing out loud. I explained to him bit by bit. Everyone has their own choices. Whatever Father does is his own business. Chenner is still young and can't interfere with adults' choices. If Father really leaves, Mother can still raise you both well. But doesn't Father love me? Perhaps he does. But Father can also love others more. He seemed to understand, looking at me while sobbing. Isn't Mother angry? Not angry. Having Chenner and Minner is enough for Mother. I held the child, rambling on about many things, until I confirmed he could accept this matter and wouldn't do anything drastic. In my previous life, I didn't let Chenner know about the grievances between adults, coaxing him that Aunt Shun was talking nonsense. Until Lin Yan truly abandoned us, he couldn't bear the blow and secretly snuck into the neighboring house, but was treated as a thief, and the person who kicked him in the chest happened to be his own father. Lin Yan not only felt no guilt, but even blamed me for raising the child badly. As expected of a vulgar shrew, raising him to be so worthless. With such a temperament, he'll only be a menace when he grows up. If he really can't hold on, then so be it. My Chenner truly couldn't hold on and died at his own father's hands. Lin Yan didn't come back for 3 days straight. On the 4th day, I didn't make his meal. Yet, he came back, still followed by Chan Yue. In just a few days, she had quickly become radiant, her little face rosy and flushed. Having never given birth, she still looked like a young girl. We've gotten tired of eating at restaurants outside these past few days. And Yen Gaga said Jawan Jaji's sour fish soup is absolutely amazing. We already caught the fish. Yen Gaga is so amazing. He can spear them with a fork right by the river. She was smug and proud, showing off how good Lin Yan was to her. Lin Yan stared at me intently, as if expecting something. I didn't want to guess what he was thinking. I just felt irritated. My tone unconsciously carried emotion too. You didn't say you were coming back. I didn't make food for you, let alone for an extra person. Lin Yan's expression suddenly changed, and he said coldly, I didn't know I needed to notify you in advance to eat at home. I set down my bowl with a thud. Of course you do. The food I made the past 3 days was all wasted. We have limited rice and grain at home. We can't afford to waste it. Husband has money to treat others to restaurants. But have you thought about your children at home? His expression choked up, momentarily speechless. Chan Yue spoke up softly at this moment. Yan Gage earns his own money. That is better than certain people who just sit around waiting to collect money. All day long it is money this. Money that, how vulgar, I really couldn't hold back and rolled my eyes. The clothes and jewelry on you, miss. Which of them wasn't piled up with money? Did you earn it? Enough. Song Jawan, how long are you going to keep being difficult? Lin Yan's face was tinged with anger, his eyes cold and frightening. He rarely got this angry. A smug look flashed in Chan Yue's eyes, the corners of her mouth curling up uncontrollably. Lin Yan pulled out a money pouch and threw it at me. Isn't money what you like? I'll give it to you then. It hurt quite a bit. Yet, I crouched down indifferently and picked it up. You really would throw away your dignity for money. Chan Yue's face was full of disgust. I glanced at Lin Yan. Did you hear that your wife would throw away her dignity for money? What a great husband you are. Lin Yan's expression froze, then a flash of panic crossed his face. I cut him off. If you two have nothing else, please go eat at a restaurant. This small place of mine can't accommodate you. He was stunned for a moment. Then hurriedly spoke, what are you saying? This is clearly my home too. You go back first. Chan Yue stared at him in disbelief. Seeing Lin Yan unmoved, she let out a cold snort, playing hard to get with these little tricks. I won't bother arguing with you. I ignored her, but when I turned around, Lin Yan grabbed my sleeve, pushed me. His words came out stiff, and you could even hear his discomfort. I was equally uncomfortable. After years of marriage, Lin Yan didn't like showing weakness, and wouldn't even let me touch his wheelchair. It was rare for him to take the initiative to ask for something. Husband can manage on his own. After saying that, I pulled my sleeve away and went to call the children for dinner. Lin Yan looked at the empty pot, then glanced at the 3 bowls of rice on the table. He spoke awkwardly, "You, how about I cook it myself?" I just nodded and replied with a hum. By the time we finished eating, the kitchen was already filled with smoke and flames. Chenner looked at me worriedly while Minner covered her nose. "Mommy, there is a fire." I patted her on the head. "Don't worry, it is fine." I had Chenner take Minner to play. Then I cleaned up the dishes and went to the kitchen. Lin Yan sat helplessly by the stove. His fair face was already smudged with dirt. "I am not very good at this." His tone carried helplessness with a hint of expectation. He used to know how. He just forgot after marrying me. "It is okay, you'll be able to learn in the future." In my previous life, after he got together with Chan Yue, he gradually learned again. Just as Chan Yue said, he couldn't bear to let her cook, so he took it upon himself. "Are you still angry? If you mind, I won't look for her anymore." I do mind," I replied indifferently, and his expression froze, not expecting me to be so blunt. Before he could speak, I added, "I am not a generous person. When my husband gives money to others, it is depriving my children of their interests. I mind very much." His brows furrowed slightly. "Just about money? What about me? Don't you care about me?" I looked at him somewhat puzzled. Lin Yan sighed and said in a low voice, "I know you are angry about the Chan Yue matter. I didn't handle it well. These past few days I just wanted to make you angry, to make you come to me first. Jawan, I can never see through you, forget it. Let's just live our days well. If what he said was true, then he really had changed in this life. Perhaps because his legs were still crippled. He felt he wasn't worthy of Chan Yue. But considering he didn't have much time left, I couldn't be bothered to argue. Yet unexpectedly, Lin Yan still broke his word. On Chenner's birthday, the 3 of us sat waiting for him to return. A full hour passed, and Chenner's figure sitting at the door had gone stiff. "Let's eat." I took his hand and led him back to the room. "Father went to find her, didn't he?" He looked up at me, his eyes filled with tears. I nodded, not hiding it from him. Actually, it didn't matter if he didn't come back. Waiting was just to let Chenner and Minner face reality and shatter that bit of delusion in their hearts. "Mother, it is okay. Chenner isn't sad." While I was still in a daze, a small hand had already been placed into my palm. Chenner held my hand steadily, his lips curling into a smile. I rubbed his little head. "Happy birthday, my Chenner must grow up healthy, happy, and joyful." "Thank you." "Mother," I gave him the gift I had prepared long ago, the 4 treasures of the study. Minner ran over with her lips pouting. "Mother, where is my gift?" Chenner quickly took out a small box from his chest and handed it over. "Brother prepared one for you." "Brother is so nice." Minner pounced over and hugged him, the 2 of them laughing together. It wasn't until we finished eating and both children had fallen asleep from exhaustion that Lin Yan finally arrived late. His face was full of guilt. Something happened to Chan Yue. I couldn't just stand by and watch. I coldly cleaned up the dishes, but he suddenly grabbed my wrist. "Did you hear what I said?" I sneered. "What happened to her that needed a cripple like you to help?" Song Jawan. Having stepped on his sore spot, Lin Yan shouted angrily. I pulled my hand away and said indifferently, "Let's divorce. I'll grant you 2 your wish. I had originally planned to endure until after his death." But seeing Chenner's disappointed eyes, I couldn't help but want to take the children and leave. "What did you say?" Lin Yan suspected he had heard wrong, so I repeated it again. He was stunned for quite a while before angrily tossing out "suit yourself" and leaving. We fell into a cold war during this time. He and Chan Yue were inseparable, and rumors spread among the neighbors. Chenner went from being heartbroken at first to now completely ignoring it. Minner cared even less, only chasing after her brother every day asking for this, and that I quietly handled the shops and properties in my possession. That day, Lin Yan went crazy for some reason, barging into my room in the middle of the night and cornering me, "My legs. Why didn't you heal my legs?" His gaze was fixed on me, so bloodshot red. It seemed like blood could condense from them. Before I could speak, he was already muttering to himself, clearly in the previous life you healed my legs. Clearly I could stand up. Something must have gone wrong somewhere. Song Jawan. I quickly calmed my emotions. "I don't understand what you are saying. Weren't your legs ruined long ago? The physician also said they can't be healed." Lin Yan stared at me for a long time, confirming I wasn't lying. After releasing me, he was both crying and laughing. "No, it can be cured." He gripped the edge of the wheelchair tightly, trembling all over Song Jawan. My legs can be healed. You clearly helped me heal them in my past life, so why won't you treat them this time? It is fine, I'll treat them myself. I watched Lin Yan's back as he nearly fell over from agitation and narrowed my eyes. He had been reborn. But, a bit too late, Lin Yan didn't show up for half a month straight. Chan Yue couldn't find him either. So she came directly to me. Where did you hide Lin Yan, Song Jiawan? No matter where you take him, he will never love you. I suggest you face reality sooner rather than later. I didn't want to deal with her, so I held Minner's hand and walked around her. But Chan Yue blocked my way. Where exactly did he go? I don't know. How could you not know? You did this on purpose. Do you know I haven't eaten for a whole day? I suddenly laughed. Only then noticing that the hairpin on Chan Yue's head was gone. My gaze fell on her bright clothes, and I said indifferently, "These clothes of yours can still get you a few meals," but I looked at the courtyard behind her. "This courtyard, I am going to sell it. You better leave soon." "How dare you? Because this courtyard is mine." Lin Yan didn't have much money. After his family's decline, only some books and paintings remained, which had been sold off over the years. On the surface, it was all spent on daily expenses, but in reality, I saved it up to acquire property. The house was left to me by my father. I have the right to dispose of it. You are crazy. When Brother Yan comes back, I'll make you pay for this. Just admit it, Song Jiawan, you are just jealous of me. So what if you bore him 2 children? The one he loves is still me. I glanced at Lin Yan returning dejectedly not far away, and the corner of my lips curled up. So sure about that. If Lin Yan hadn't been reborn, I would believe it. But now he is the reborn Lin Yan. Upon seeing Lin Yan, Chan Yue's eyes immediately reddened. "Brother Yan, where did you go?" "Sister Jiawan wants to kick me out, and she says she is in charge of this household." Lin Yan only glanced at her once before his gaze fell on me. "Song Jiawan, what exactly went wrong? Isn't there a doctor surnamed Zhang in the south of the city? Where did he go?" His words were pleading, his hands gripped his knees, his expression pained. I shook my head blankly. "I don't understand what you are saying. I've never been to South City. How would I know any physician?" Brother Yan, Chan Yue was unwilling to give up, tugging at his sleeve corner again, her voice becoming more choked. Lin Yan's expression turned cold, and he pulled his clothes away. "Miss Chan, please leave." His sudden coldness was unacceptable to Chan Yue. "Brother Yan, are you abandoning me? Did she force you?" "Song Jiawan, you slut." "What did you say to Brother Yan?" Before she could finish, she was thrown to the ground by Lin Yan. Lin Yan stared at her with bloodshot eyes, grinding out a single word through clenched teeth. Scram Chan Yue was scared, scrambling up and hiding inside the room. Lin Yan took several deep breaths, calming his emotions before looking at me. "Jiawan, let's go home." He reached out his hand toward me, trembling slightly. I smiled faintly. "Young Master Lin must be joking. This is my home. It has nothing to do with you." After saying that, I walked over quickly and closed the door. Lin Yan's voice came from outside the door. "Song Jiawan, the divorce document hasn't been signed yet. You are still my wife. Open the door. Making a scene won't be good for anyone. I wronged you in the past. From now on, we'll live our days well together. Don't forget, I am the father of 2 children. As soon as his words fell, Chenner's indifferent voice came through. "Uncle Lin, whoever is my mother's husband is the father of me and Minner. You are Aunt Yue's husband, so naturally you won't be my father." "Lin Chen," Lin Yan roared in exasperation. I hurriedly opened the door, and Chenner slipped inside with a bang. I closed the door again. "You are taking advantage of my bad legs, but these legs of mine can clearly be healed when Dr. Zhang comes back." "Don't regret it." Lin Yan was furious, his voice terrifyingly cold. Chenner looked at me with a worried face, and I pinched his little cheek. "Don't worry, in my previous life, I did heal Lin Yan's legs. The price was everything I had, money, dignity, even health. Dr. Zhang from South City had an eccentric temperament and was unwilling to come here to treat Lin Yan's legs. But Lin Yan also refused to go to South City to find him. Could it be that you think my legs are a burden to you? If you'd said so earlier, we could just divorce, so you don't have to find ways to hurt me." At that time, I didn't know if Dr. Zhang could really do it, and I didn't dare to force Lin Yan, so I traveled back and forth between South City and Zhangzhou. Finally, on a day of pouring rain, the door to Dr. Zhang's house was opened. He looked at me with a cold face. "Miss, You will regret this in the future. I just smiled and replied, a man of such brilliant talent like him, how miserable would he be without his legs? If he can be cured, even if he leaves me, I'll accept it. All I wanted was for Lin Yan to be well. Dr. Zhang finally agreed. Over the course of half a year, he lived with us at home. Money was spent like water, my dowry, Lin Yan's calligraphy, and paintings, all completely exhausted. The day Lin Yan regained feeling in his legs, he trembled with excitement. He said, Zhaowan, thank you, looking at those eyes bright as stars. I felt it was worth it. I just want you to be well. When his legs could finally walk again, Dr. Zhang also set off to leave. Lin Yan smiled and asked him to stay for the wedding feast. Yes, he wanted to marry me again. Last time was too hasty. This time let's make it grand. He wanted to bow at the altar and marry, with neighbors and villagers as witnesses, but nothing could withstand Chan Yue's return 4 years later. Lin Yan couldn't find out Dr. Zhang's whereabouts for a long time. So he came to me again. You really don't know anything? No, impossible. He gripped my hand tightly. Everything was my fault in the past life, Zhaowan. Please forgive me. A humble and pleading Lin Yan, how refreshing. Under his hopeful gaze, I crouched down and leaned close to his face. What exactly did you do in your past life that you need my forgiveness? He froze, his expression becoming pained. It is all in the past. Fortunately, there is a chance to start over. He quickly convinced himself. Get lost, a roar came from the neighboring courtyard, and we turned to look. We saw Chan Yue being thrown out along with her belongings. Her eyes lit up when she saw Lin Yan. Brother Yan, they're trying to kick me out. Brother Yan, save me. Tears hung on her eyelids, her pale little face looking indescribably pitiful. The old woman who was kicking her out stood at the door with her hands on her hips, casting a contemptuous glance at Lin Yan. Then she spat, shameless bitch, freeloading off others while trying to seduce their husband. This old woman has lived for decades and never seen anyone as thick-skinned as you. This courtyard has already been sold to me by Madame Song. Get as far away from me as possible. If you keep crying at my doorstep, watch me beat you. She raised her hand, and Chan Yue instinctively shrank her neck, but Lin Yan indifferently withdrew his gaze, his slender fingers tugging at my clothes. Zhaowan, why bother looking at irrelevant people? It is fine that you don't remember anyway. I'll treat you well from now on, Brother Yan. Chan Yue couldn't believe Lin Yan would ignore her. Big teardrops fell pitter-patter, continuously dropping to the ground. I turned to look at Lin Yan. What exactly happened in your past life? You seem to not like Miss Chan Yue anymore. His expression changed. A flash of ruthlessness quickly passing through his eyes, but it was only for a moment before he returned to his gentle appearance. It is nothing, I just suddenly figured things out. My wife and child are more important after all. I smiled and pulled back the corner of my clothes. All right, let's go home. Wild joy flashed across Lin Yan's face. He became attentive. He sold the few remaining valuable items in the study. He gave all the money to me. He also went out early and came back late to write poems and paint for others. He had a reputation for talent, so his commissions were quite high. I watched the gradually increasing income and exchanged it bit by bit for banknotes. It wasn't until there was news about Chen'er going to Nanshan Academy that I hurriedly packed up, planning to move away from Zhangzhou. When Lin Yan staggered home, the carriage had just been loaded. His face was pale, forcing out a smile. Where are you going? Did you forget to tell me? But it is okay. Good thing I came back. Lin Yan was about to cry, but I smiled and looked at Chan Yue not far away. Her gaze glared at him with hatred. Brother Yan, give up. She won't take you with her. Get lost. Before Chan Yue's hand could touch him, she was shoved away by Lin Yan. She fell to the ground, yet smiled hideously. What is wrong with you? Have you gone mad? You weren't like this before. You loved me the most, have you forgotten? She crawled over to him on all fours. Brother Yan, I came back specifically to be with you. How can you not want me? The money you made from selling poems and painting should be given to me. You promised me. How can you break your word? Lin Yan couldn't break free for the moment and looked at me anxiously. Zhaowan, I am your husband. How can you leave me behind? Come quickly, come push me. Chen'er, Min'er, are you not going to care about your father either? Chen'er brought Min'er into the carriage, covering Min'er's eyes and ears. He pressed his lips together without speaking. Seeing that we all looked indifferent, Lin Yan became angry. He suddenly pushed Chanyue away with force, hurriedly driving his wheelchair toward the carriage. It is fine, I am coming to find you. We're a family, no matter what grudges there are, they'll pass. I can still write poems, still paint, I earn good money, doesn't Zhaowen like money? When he was just within reach, his wheelchair suddenly got stuck and couldn't move. It turned out Chanyu was pulling it from behind. Brother Yan, you can't leave? You can't abandon me. But Lin Yan was furious. Let go of me, I will never believe you again. If it weren't for you, my child wouldn't have died. If it weren't for you, Zhaowen wouldn't have left me. Chanyue, you vicious woman, just a few days ago she was the white moonlight in his heart, and in an instant she became a vicious woman. Chanyue didn't understand, her face full of shock and confusion. Lin Yan's hatred for her was so great that she stood there dumbfounded. She unconsciously loosened her grip. The freed Lin Yan came before me in an instant. He reached out to me, his face full of anticipation. I am your husband. Without me, where can you even go? If it really comes to it, I'll report to the authorities. Don't you care about Chenner's future anymore? Zhaowen, be obedient. I really will treat you well. Amid his expectant face, I took out the divorce document from my chest. The two characters, Lin Yan, on it were crystal clear. How is this possible? I never signed this. Lin Yan flatly denied it. But I smiled. Feel free to go to the Yamen and file a complaint. Have someone verify its authenticity. Whether you wrote it yourself or not, do you really not recognize it? He stood there as if struck by lightning, frozen on the spot. He must have remembered now. The divorce document was signed when our relationship was at its best. When I tricked him into signing it, I stood at the front of the carriage, looking toward the neighbors and villagers. Tode, Lin Yan, and I have already divorced. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. After saying that, my gaze fell on him. Since his heart belongs to someone else, I naturally won't force it. I only wish you too. Lifetime after lifetime, never to part Song Zhaowen. I turned and got into the carriage, ordering the coachman to drive away. Behind me, Lin Yan screamed himself hoarse. But no matter how loud a voice is, it will eventually fade away. As long as I go far enough. I've waited too long for this day. I bought a courtyard not far from Chenner's academy and also acquired some businesses. Without the expenses of treating Lin Yan's leg, plus the money he earned over these years, it is enough for the three of us to live comfortably for the rest of our lives. But it is still not enough. I need to save up a dowry for Minner. If Chenner makes something of himself in the future, there will be expenses to manage in officialdom. So I am very busy. So busy that it wasn't until 3 months later that I heard news about Lin Yan and Chanyue. How can Chanyue compare to Madame Song after you left? She forced young Master Lin to write poems and essays and didn't even give him the money from selling them. Poor young Master Lin wanted to escape, but she caught him and dragged him back. A few days ago, they even had a big fight. What was young Master Lin yelling about again? He said Chanyue had ruined him. It was clearly his own choice. Yet he blames others entirely. Really, the other person rambled on about many things. Chanyue really did ruin him, but not in this life, in the previous one. When Chanyue came looking for him in the previous life, Lin Yan's legs had long since fully healed. The white moonlight from his youth was still bright and dazzling. His gratitude and guilt toward me vanished completely through all the push and pull, until both our son and daughter lost their lives. Song Zhaowen, you should think about whether you did something wicked to bring such retribution upon your children. You can't even look after the children properly. This isn't my fault. Yue was just washing clothes by the river. If she hadn't seen Minner fall into the water and found someone to help, you might not even have a body to see stop spouting nonsense. She couldn't possibly have harmed my child. Heartbroken and disappointed, I divorced him. And he was busy distancing himself. You healed my legs, but don't think you can hold that over me for favors. Even without you, I would have healed eventually. He rushed toward his love with Chanyue, full of passion, yet on the very day he passed the imperial examination, he was reported. It turned out Chanyue hadn't actually divorced. She had fled overnight because she feared her husband's family's downfall would drag her down. In truth, she was the wife of a convicted criminal. Lin Yan's glory hadn't even begun before it came to an end. How could this happen? I hid in the crowd, watching him host guests and watching him fall into desolation. But that still wasn't enough. 3 days later, Lin Yan and Chanyue both died at the mass grave. Their blood had been drained dry, the stench unbearable. Covered in blood, I walked toward the depths of the river, toward the bottomless abyss. Chener Minner. Mommy's coming to find you. Before this, 3 years of slaughtering pigs. I went from a woman who couldn't even tie up a chicken to swift and precise with every cut. The calluses on my hands hard as stone. Finally, I killed my enemies with my own hands. I only pity my 2 children, my Chener was so sensible. Grabbing my hand before he died, Mommy, don't cry. Chener isn't scared. In the next life, Chener will still be Mommy's child. Mommy must come find Chener. Minner was even more pitiful. When the little child was pulled from the water, she was already beyond recognition. Just that morning, she was still rubbing her eyes, looking all cute and sleepy. Mommy, I want to eat mung bean cake. Her mung bean cake was ready, but she never came back to eat it. How could Lin Yan know that Chanyue's identity ruined him, but I was the one who exposed it? His and Chanyue's lives were also taken by me. I didn't expect Lin Yan could still find his way here. At that time, I was busy making winter clothes for the 2 children, fine cotton batting laid out in the yard to sun. White and fluffy, the sunlight on it warmed my heart. That is when Lin Yan appeared at the door. He was actually standing, but his clothes were tattered and his face was covered in filth. If not for those bright eyes, I would have thought he was some beggar from who knows where. Jiawan, HSS. He got excited and stepped forward, but collapsed to the ground after just 1 step. Then he started rolling on the ground, clutching his legs seeing me approach. He endured the pain and forced a smile. Look, I can stand up now. As he spoke, he began struggling again, but it didn't go as he wished. I glanced at the wheelchair not far away. It seemed he hadn't walked here. A disabled person, able to find his way here from Zhongzhou. Must have taken quite some effort. I placed my hand on the door and was about to push when Lin Yan suddenly crawled over. He grabbed my foot. Dirty marks immediately appeared on my pristine white shoes. I frowned, quite impatient. Lin Yan shrank back, his words agitated. I can stand up now. I'll definitely be able to walk in the future. Jiawan, please don't despise me. Did Dr. Zhang treat you? I was genuinely curious, logically speaking, even if Dr. Zhang came, his legs would be beyond saving. No, he said it couldn't be cured, but I didn't believe it. It was clearly curable in my previous life, so I found an even better doctor, and now I can stand up. I looked at his sweat-covered face, gasping heavily from exhaustion. Then I looked at his legs that clearly had no strength, suddenly understood something. This isn't getting better at all. It is getting worse. In that case, I can rest easy. I shut the door without mercy. I turned a blind eye to Lin Yan's wailing. But he lingered at the doorway and wouldn't leave. He told everyone he met that I was his wife. I am now crippled in both legs. I can understand if my wife despises me. Before I could still sell some calligraphy and paintings to make a living. But now they don't fetch a good price, so she doesn't want me anymore. The 2 children sigh. Perhaps they're just listening to their mother. His words implied I was a gold digger who abandoned him, ungrateful and disloyal, even dragging our children's reputation through the mud. Chener's academy is nearby. I don't want his reputation damaged. So I opened the door and saw Lin Yan, his face lit up with joy. And he even tried to reach out toward Chener and Minner, good children. Why won't you greet me? I gestured for Chener to take Minner back inside first, then looked coldly at Lin Yan. When you caused their deaths in the previous life, did you ever think about being their father? He suddenly froze, staring at me in disbelief. I simply told him straight, that is right, I was reborn and earlier than you. Holy moly, this plot twist is absolutely mind-blowing. So the female lead is also reborn, and she was reborn even earlier than Lin Yan. This explains why she has been so calm all along. She already knew how the plot would unfold. This I was reborn before you set up is just so satisfying. Lin Yan thought he had the advantage of foresight, but the female lead had already laid out her plans. I am super excited to see his expression when he finds out the truth. I was reborn on my wedding night with Lin Yan. I could have run, but in this world, if I fled the marriage, I would have nowhere to stand, let alone my son and daughter from my previous life. I missed them, so I took the initiative to suggest sleeping in separate rooms. Lin Yan was happy with that. Until a year later, to Lin Yan's surprise, I took the initiative to sleep with him. The days were exactly the same as my previous life. I was so scared, afraid the one who came wouldn't be my Chener. But thankfully, it really was him. He came to find me later. Minner came too. Song Jawan, Lin Yan's trembling voice pulled me back to reality. I laughed. You don't actually think that we, with 2 lives between us, can still reconcile, do you? Then why did you still marry me? I stirred the tea foam in the cup and said lightly, for the children, and also because you do have some money. And more importantly, I needed to keep an eye on his legs. These sinful legs must not heal, and his life must be repaid. So my legs, he lowered his head in disbelief. He finally understood why in his previous life, Dr. Zhang had silently prepared to save him upon seeing him. Yet in this life he shook his head and said there was no saving him. Lin Yan suddenly lunged at me, but I was prepared and dodged aside. His eyes were red, glaring at me intensely. Why are you trying to harm me? Aren't you afraid of retribution? I looked at him indifferently. Actually, in my previous life, you also died by my hand. It is just that it was too dark then, and my strike was precise, so you never got the chance to see my face. Lin Yan, on our wedding day I gave you a chance to back out, but you refused. Even a tiger won't eat its own cubs. Yet, someone like you, retribution should fall on you instead. I turned and left those legs that harmed my child. How could I let them have any chance of recovery? Lin Yan roared in the courtyard. His legs hurt, and so did his heart. By the time Chan Yue brought people over, he had already passed out from the pain. What did you do to him? Her gaze was venomous, sweeping over the courtyard where I lived with jealousy and hatred. I said indifferently, keep an eye on your man otherwise. There are still several nephews from the Wang family looking for you, and I don't mind showing them the way. Chan Yue's face instantly turned pale. Those filthy secrets hidden in her heart didn't dare surface openly. She had people tie up Lin Yan since you've already divorced her and married me. How can you be so shameless as to come looking for her? Lin Yan's eyes turned red with anger. That marriage certificate was clearly fake. You deceived me. Chan Yue, give up on this. I will never marry you. Chan Yue raised her hand in anger and slapped him. Her gaze fell on his legs, and she sneered. So all that caring and concern these days was fake, and you even said when your legs healed you'd take the imperial examination. Said that if you made it big in the future you'd even earn me a noble title. So it was all lies, Lin Yan. I think you don't need these legs anymore. After saying that, she stomped down hard, but I reached out and blocked her. Light immediately burst from Lin Yan's eyes, but then he heard me say coldly, "Once you are out of my courtyard, you can beat or scold him as you please." I was afraid they'd scare the child. Lin Yan was taken away by Chan Yue. Within a month, the nephews from Chan Yue's husband's family also came knocking. Only then did Chan Yue realize I had tricked her, but she was too busy to deal with everything and had no time to settle scores with me. The rouge from my shop sold well, and the shopkeeper from Zhangzhou came to stock up. Upon learning I was from Zhangzhou, he told me some news. Among them, Chan Yue and Lin Yan were one such story. Those nephews are really no good, occupying their house, taking their money to eat, drink, and gamble. They even forced the couple to serve them. And so, young Master Lin finally couldn't take it anymore and burned everyone in a fire. I listened quietly and couldn't help but give him a few more boxes of fashionable rouge. The shopkeeper was pleased and talked even more. I heard that young Master Lin originally had a proper wife, but relying on her affection for him, he openly kept a mistress. Look, he drove away his good wife and brought in this shrew. Serves him right, I'd say. Indeed, I smiled and gave him a few more boxes of rouge, then saw him out the door. Actually, even if Lin Yan hadn't set that fire, he wouldn't have lived much longer. For the past 5 years, I had long been putting slow-acting poison in the tea he drank every day. Many years later, Chenner passed the imperial examination with honors. Our family went to the capital city again. Later, Chenner did well for himself, and I gradually became the matriarch of a noble house. Before I died, Chenner came to my bedside with disheveled hair. Mother, I had a dream. I dreamed I went back to when I was little and was kicked by father, and then I interrupted him. If it were true, would you blame mother for coming back to find you? Chenner knelt on the ground holding my hand. How could I? Being mother's child is Chenner's fortune. That is good, that is good. Shucks you gifts that students in ancient times presented to their teachers when becoming their disciples. Usually 10 strips of dried meat later came to generally refer to tuition or apprenticeship fees. Simply put, It is the ancient version of tuition, just like how you have to pay tuition to go to school now. Ancient kids also had to give their teachers gifts as tuition to attend school. But back then they gave dried meat, which was way more ceremonial than just transferring money nowadays.